Let us pray. Loving and gracious God, we thank you for drawing us together this evening to honor Anne McGovern as Citizen of the Year. We thank you for this community of Winchester, the religious and civic organizations that have helped it to thrive and grow, and the people who have devoted so much of their lives to make this town prosper. Help us never to be complacent in our success, but lend us guidance so that we may continue to strive for all that is good and just and true. And now we ask that you bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies, continue to bless us in your loving service, and keep us ever mindful of the needs of others. Amen.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to open tonight's festivities by wasting no time in introducing our guest of honor. And I will simply say, ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, Anne McGovern. Behind every great woman, you don't get elected 20 years without doing that. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce a friend of yours as well, and a person equally well known, her husband, Lane McGovern. Lane, stand up. And then just to complete, let me introduce those members of the McGovern family that are here this evening. Not oh Lord, just the mother-in-law. First of all is the mother-in-law, Mrs. Marion McGovern. And then Anne's brother-in-law, Gordon McGovern. And there are 4 children that many of you know. The first one, Laura McGovern. When I said first, I meant first on my list. There was an argument earlier in the evening as to age, and I chose to stay out of it. And next, Sue and and her husband Bill, Sue and Bill Carlo. Could I ask you to, could I ask a favor if you'd stand up and just turn around, because they are televising it, and they might like to, in case anything happens later on, you know. And then we have Lisa and Jay Wallace. Lisa and Jay. And then we have Sarah and Paul Morrissey. And then we have 3 grandsons. First, Paul. Stand way up, Paul, so we can get you on the camera there. And then the second, JJ. And the third, but far the best, Brian. That'll cost you 5, Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do this evening, we have a group of speakers who obviously have come to heap special praise on Anne for all that she's done over the years here in the town of Winchester. And what I thought would be the way to run this evening is we will go ahead and we will start to eat our salad, and we will have the speakers from time to time come to the podium during dinner so that we won't all be here till midnight. And I think if you just do me the kindness of when I try to get your attention, feel free to talk and everything until I come up, and we'll try to get some of the speakers who are most interesting to speak while you're reading. And when you are reading, don't worry about eating while they're speaking. And with that, let the party begin.
Getting into drugs and being high is a stupid thing to do. Being original and take a stand. You're free to say no. Don't let a friend push you into taking drugs. You got a right to say no.
Back up. Oh, did we do it that way? It ain't so much a question of not knowing what to say. We all know Annie does the work of 10. She started with the Girl Scouts, then in school the PTA. She saw a need and filled it there and then. And through the years she's built a reputation. She's the model for a younger generation. Annie's the girl who can't say no. The town's in a wonderful fix. She'll always say, come on, let's go. She is our #1 pick. For the plan that comes into your mind when a project needs a special kind of knack is to get Anne McGovern on the line. If not, you know she'll always call you back. Annie's the gal who won't say no to Girl Scouts, to Anchor Winton too. To every meeting she'll go. She always knows what to do. She can't say no. What should she do when her husband gets flirty and starts to talk purty? What's a wife to do when he says the situation really isn't funny? They've got to make money. What's a wife to do when he says the auction has to be run and a great success or he'll die? What's she gonna do when he talks that way? Spit in his eye? Look how she cares for Marion, meeting her elders' demands. Meals on wheels and caring for grands. It's a wonder she still carries on. Annie's the girl with a heart of gold. True though it sounds a bit quaint, she'll tell you she's hardly a saint. A quitter this lady just ain't. She can't say no.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that that was written and choreographed by Judy Muger. Where's Judy? Where's Judy? A round of applause for that group. Ladies and gentlemen, while you're finishing your salad, let me introduce at this time the chairman of the Winchester Board of Selectmen, Peter Van Aken. Peter.
Thank you, John. Ann, it is, of course, the custom of the Board of Selectmen to offer a citation on an event such as this for the Citizen of the Year. But in leading up to that, I was trying to think of the proper image to sort of get the idea across to those in the audience that don't know you as well as those of us who have been recruited. And it finally dawned on me that the image, in fact, relates very much to the drill that we just saw. I think many of you will remember the poster that was in front of the local post office some years ago with a bearded gentleman wearing this kind of hat saying, "Uncle Sam needs you." And that's the image. You just have to kind of transpose the face here. And here is Ann McGovern needs you, right? And underneath it says in small type, Anchor. And then the next version comes out and it says Winton Club. And the next version comes out and it says the Friends of the Library, and on and on and on. And for all of that recruiting, we would like to acknowledge the contributions that you have made to this community and what it is. And this does honor you as the Outstanding Citizen of the Year, and in small type, Chief Recruiter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter. And next, as part of our plan to get all the politicians speaking before dinner as opposed to after, let me introduce at this time our representative to the Great and General Court, Paul Casey. Paul.
Thanks, John. I wonder what that says about you. And John Sullivan, my good and near dear friend, I can't think of somebody who deserves an honor more, and other than the Sullivans and the McGoverns. I see so many of the McGoverns here who, as a kid, I grew up with, and it's funny just to see you all here and looking at me. I know, and I don't think anybody in this room realizes and just what a great tuna fish sandwich you make. We lived at your house, and you made your own popcorn and stuff. I mean, that was just great. None of this Jiffy Pop. You made real popcorn. I have my mother in the audience, and we share books every now and then. And I was reading a book called Common Friends. And inside that book, they make note of a Johann von Baer. And it turns out that he happened to win the Nobel Peace Prize back in 1902, 1903. And they named Baer aspirin after him and many other wonderful discoveries. But one of his greatest times in his life happened to be when they actually, his assistants, built this huge turbine, water turbine. It was moving all around. It was shaking. It filled up a whole room. It made all the noise. And suddenly he calls down to his wife, "Please, come down, dear. You have to see this turbine." And she comes running down and looks at it. And she ponders it and watches. And suddenly, after about 10 minutes, she says, "What a wonderful idea to mix mayonnaise." And the whole purpose of the story is that here's this wonderful invention, and yet she was the innovator. And Ann, you have been the innovator here in Winchester. I mean, no one's invented volunteerism, but you've added a new dimension to it. You cross all boundaries, all borders, and for that, you've offered us all a lifetime of memories and pleasant thoughts. And from the heart, this is from the legislature. These are so unique. John didn't want to touch it, it's so unique. But it does say from the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Ann McGovern in recognition of your outstanding dedication, amazing devotion, and boundless civic pride for the town of Winchester on the occasion of your being named the Winchester Chamber of Commerce 1996 Citizen of the Year. And I'm not surprised, Ann, if you actually created the costumes for the people who just came up here. So thank you, Ann. On behalf of the legislature, thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. And finally, to round out, we have a similar presentation here from the State Senate. This presentation was intended to be presented by Charles Shannon, who is our state senator. He had an aide bring this down, and let me read that. He may be here a little bit later in the evening. But it says, an official citation signed by Thomas F. Birmingham, the newly elected president of the Senate, offered by Charles Shannon. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Ann McGovern in recognition for your exemplary service and dedication to the town of Winchester in your receiving the 1995-96 Outstanding Citizen Award. Thank you. Before Proposition 2.5, Ann, they came in frames, I understand, but ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy your meal. Have a good evening.
Ann served as president of the Winton Club and concurrently on the hospital board of directors. She is still a volunteer in the hospital coffee shop, member of the Friends of Winchester Hospital and NCA. And what I would say very much from the heart is that what the record doesn't show, but what we know to be the fact, is the sincerity of her volunteerism. It is that sincerity and commitment that I think brings us here tonight to praise Ann McGovern, and it's that sincerity and commitment that all of us, especially those of us at Winchester Hospital, have come to depend on. Congratulations, Ann.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is well known as a speaker in Winchester. Brian Morrissey. Come on up here, Brian. Remember what I said, you got to get real close. Okay?
Like right here?
Yeah, right up, right in the mic.
Alright. My name is Brian Morrissey. I live on 36 Park Ave. On behalf of my brothers and my cousins, I wish to say congratulations to my grandmother.
Keep going. Give him a chance to applaud, you know.
We are proud of you, and we love you. We love you very much. Thank you.
Right. Okay, Brian's nomination papers will be going around. Oh, not moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, let me introduce Susie DeGeorge for the Girl Scouts. I would suggest you do, yes. But let me get out of here.
Now, all of you might not be interested in camping relics, but
Don't touch the moderator.
I have to. Just put that over here. You can just hold it to me. Well, we go on a camping trip. We always have to have safety first. We have to make sure that we have a fire bucket. And good lighting. And water in the bucket. Well, I was going to have water and throw it on you, but, you know, that didn't work too well. So,
You want to hold this up?
no, that's all right. I'm getting there. Then we're going to have dinner. I have to look it in because otherwise I won't get through this. We have a caper chart that goes back to. That's a genuine for my solar. This is Sarah's vintage caper chart for everyone to know what they're going to do. Then we have a sit-upon which you did not have in your basement. We had to get from someone else.
I could use a sit-upon right now. Oh.
And then we have, this is a buddy burner, and you cook your pancakes and your fried eggs on top of that. What's next, John? Help me out.
Okay.
Then we get through dinner. We have a dumpster. We're cooking. This was Laura's when she was little. Are we to after, we're cleaning up after dinner. And we're going to, whoops, pardon me, we're going to cook some marshmallows. And here's an apple, because the best s'mores are made with a slice of apple from Minneapolis. Is that right? All right, we get ready. We're almost over. No, don't do it. We're almost.
Sorry, I dozed off.
We're standing around. We're having a little candlelight ceremony. Do you remember that? And then, the most of all, we
In the woods?
at the Girl Scout cabin when it exists. But last week I was taking a walk in the woods near the Girl Scout cabin, and I found a petrified foil dinner. Now, a little bit more on the serious side. I think the third line of the Girl Scout promise says to help other people at all times, and certainly Ann has fulfilled that promise. Great White Leader, I love you.
This is really good. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce some of the past recipients who are with us this evening. And I should note that all but one of these recipients paid for his meal. The first recipient in 1980 was Harrison Chadwick, the late Harrison Chadwick, and the second one was a then representative, not late, Sherman Saltmarsh. Is he here? Oh, there he is, yes, Sherman Saltmarsh. And would the cashier wants to get you on the way out? In 1982, we had Robert Nickerson, who I don't think is with us this evening. And the next gentleman I know is here, Dr. Gus Kaufman. Dr. Kaufman, way up back. In 1984, we'll skip that. 1985 was that was a good year. The wine was good too. In 1985, we had Clarence Beauregard. Clarence could not make it this evening, but we send him our best wishes. And in 1986, we had John Jake Chacha. Where is Jake? I know Jake's here. Jake. In 1987, we had the distinguished Harry Sheffalo. Mr. Sheffalo. Mr. Sheffalo was recently honored last Saturday, having served over 50 years with the Winchester Rotary. In 1988, we had Dr. Lenore Rich, and I can tell you that for those that knew Lenore, she would be very pleased to be remembered this evening and to be with you in these good times, and we will miss her greatly. In 1989, we had the distinguished and very wealthy Dr. Donald McLean. Dr. McLean is a former friend of mine. In 1990, we had Paul Mahoney, and Paul could not be with us this evening. And in 1991, this was the era of wealth, Arthur Griffin. Where is Arthur? In 1992, a famous selectman here in Winchester and now choreographer for the various dance groups, Judy Muja. Where is Judy? And in 1993, remembered earlier in the evening, Austin Broadhurst. And I know we all send our deepest sympathy to Austin's family and loved ones. And in 1994, Sandy Thompson. Sandy. There she is. And finally, in 1995, Mr. Justin McGee. Justin. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, let me introduce Peg Perinack from the NCOC.
Congratulations and thank you, Anne, for all the jobs you've done.
We could always count on you for a smile and lots of fun.
We in ENCA thank you for all your timely care.
Remember, you can't say no to us when we ask you to chair the fair.
be it the Epiphany Church or the NCAR, or as you heard from the Girl Scouts, it never continues to amaze me that somebody who tends to volunteer a lot volunteers for everybody. And really, Ann is one of those folks, and I know when she accepted the honor, one of her remarks was that she accepted it on behalf of the many people who volunteer in all of these organizations in Winchester, which is really sort of unique to our town. And now from one of those organizations that has been around for a long time, the Winton Club, let me introduce Gail O'Grady, who is the president of the Winton Club, and Mary Gillespie.
Oh goodness. We're going to try to be serious because we really can't be funny about all that Ann has done for Winton Club. And Mary's going to, those pictures, tell us a little bit of some of her experiences with Ann.
Sorry I have to wear glasses, but I've gotten older. In 1979, I joined the Winton Club with oh, I'm sorry. Well, I got to switch here because I can't read it. In 1979, no, I can read it with my glasses,
okay.
Thank you. Oh, well, I was dead in 1979, but in 1979, I joined the Winton Club with a 1-year-old in my arms and number 2 coming soon. That wasn't a very smart move, I agree. I enjoyed for the next several years the privilege of being the youngest member of the club. Who better to have as my mentor, my leader, Ann McGovern. Her energy, commitment showed me what Winton Club stood for and how I could best meet my obligations to the club. Ann was part of the group that encouraged me to take part in many facets of the club. If I heard it once, I heard it 1,000 times. This isn't the way we used to do it. But she always supported me and what we tried to accomplish. I thank you, Ann, for showing me the way. Now I take off my glasses.
Well, I met Ann on March 9th, 1984. That was the day that Mrs. McGovern and Mrs. Kennedy, where did she go? She's gone. She was here. Came to visit me as a new member of Winton Club. We were supposed to have tea. Well, I had no furniture in my house. That was a good start. And Mrs. McGovern scared me to death. The whole concept of the president of the Winton Club coming to visit me was terrifying. Well, it didn't take very long, and the missus was gone. We were laughing our heads off, and we decided that we should have had wine and cheese instead of, there we do now, instead of tea and cookies. It was a wonderful experience. It was the beginning of a lifelong, I hope, relationship with a wonderful lady. Ann joined Winton Club, as Steve told you earlier, in 1965. She has done so many marvelous things for the Winton Club. You have chaired, Ann McGovern, 23 committees, which is pretty amazing. Well, the fact of the matter is not only has she chaired 23 committees, but many times she's chaired that committee again and again and again, so it's probably tenfold that. During her tenure as president, during all the times that she worked on various committees, during the past 2 years when she's been, as Mary said, a mentor to me and to Mary and to many of us, Ann has written lovely letters to everyone. Well, in Winton Club, we keep everything that anybody ever writes, I want to tell you that. So I'm going to pay a little tribute to Ann by using the words that Ann has used so many years. And she's written to all of you, she's written to the people in the community, the people at the library, the people at the hospital. All of you have probably received something from Ann, and probably some of the words that I'm going to read to you, Ann, you're going to remember. Dear Ann, the members of the Winton, can you hear me? Dear Ann, can you hear me now? The members of the Winton Club would like to extend our special thanks to you. Remember, these are all Ann's words, not mine. You are one of the most loyal and hardworking members, and certainly one of the most thoughtful and generous. Your cooperation, enthusiasm, time, and efforts in many directions added immeasurably to Winton Club's successes. Your positive and happy approach and encouragement to all members is never to be forgotten. Your ability to see things as challenges rather than problems is greatly admired. Your totally selfless and optimistic outlook combined with your great sensitivity and depth of concern. Did you get that letter?
No.
In a most incredible way.
I listened to it too many thousand times.
You always make us feel that nothing is too much trouble, no matter how many times we ask. You continually focus on others and remain a source of real strength to your many friends. Your words mean a lot, convincing us that the time and effort are really worth it. You include a genuine concern for our interests in your thoughts and your activities. You are such an important part of the Winton Club and make us realize how very fortunate we are to be able to include you among our many loyal friends. You respect new ideas and new people without giving up trying to explain and convince and help the old. Your basic philosophy that success has always been the result of good group process has often worked to Winton Club's advantage. You might ask, where is that slower pace, that change of lifestyle talked about by some? You would not know how to cope with a non-frenetic existence or a calendar void of dazzling events. Visions of you lounging, sipping California wine, and making simply fabulous plans are replaced with visions of you smiling and looking forward to working for the Winton Club, the Winchester Hospital, and the community, all the while saying, yes, I'll be glad to, or let me know when. We are most appreciative of your support. Our special thanks to you who did so much for us. We are delighted to be a part of your commendable efforts on the behalf of the community which supports the Winton Club and the Winchester Hospital. I know you will continue to participate in and be a help to the Chamber and to the town. There are few others of your caliber. Thank you for so many caring things done so well, so regularly, so loyally, and for so many years. You are just great, and I wonder where this town would be without you. Know that you have won a place within the hearts of many, many people in the Winton Club and Winchester. Congratulations. Sincerely, the Winton Club.
Thank you very much, ladies. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the town of Winchester, there's one organization in town that's really in the midst of a very exciting time, and that organization is the Winchester Public Library. Like many cities and towns in the Commonwealth, the libraries have suffered short shrift over the years as people have cut back on expenses to try to keep the towns running under Proposition 2.5. And through the leadership of some very dedicated people who have devoted time to the services of the Winchester Public Library, we in Winchester are almost completing a major renovation of the library, which would carry us well into the 21st century. When you think of those many volunteers, and there are many, the McGovern name is synonymous with that organization. Both Lane and Ann have put a tremendous amount of effort into the Winchester Public Library, and the benefits that we are going to reap from their participation will be felt for many generations to come. And this time I would like to introduce the head of the Winchester Library, Linda Wills. That's right, Linda. No one ever expected the librarians to be on time. Okay. I got to tell you a good story. Linda did me a big favor last week. I went down to I haven't been in the what do you call the temporary library since they put it in. And I had an occasion to do a rather extensive period of study last week, getting ready for exams. And we had some maintenance folks come to the house about 11 o'clock, and I knew I wouldn't be able to get anything done, so I went in the car, and I went down to the library, and I pulled on the door, and the door was locked. And I looked at the sign, and the janitor came to the door and says, "We don't open. We don't have enough money. We don't open until 1:30. So I thought for a minute. I said, "Well, my name is John Sullivan." I said, "Is there any chance, I could just use one of the desks?" And he says, "Absolutely not. We can't let anybody in, security reasons." And I started to walk away, and I said, "Is Linda in?" And she says, "Oh, yeah, she's upstairs." So I said, "Can I see her?" And so he brought me up practically in cuffs. And I asked Linda if she could give me some space for a couple of hours until the library opened. She was very kind. But I must note that there are terrible conditions up there. I ended up in the janitor's office, and I studied in there for 3 hours, and I want to thank you publicly for breaking the rules.
John, can I lower this a little bit? I don't know how to do that. That's mechanical, and
When I came in, the lady had me help with the tables. She thought I was a waiter. How's that?
just put it here, and we'll put Ann here. Okay. Ann, we have a terrible problem. I really need your help. You won't believe it. We didn't sell everything. Could you please come up here, please? Please, it's just terrible. I don't know what we're going to do. You told me it was all done. We sold this. I remember that. $37.50. Thank you. 'Twas the night of the auction, and all through the house, the junk kept arriving, to the screams of her spouse. The basement was loaded, the garage packed up tight, the front porch a nightmare, the back porch a sight. And Lane in his PJs and Ann in her cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose a great clatter. They sprang from their beds to see what was the matter. When what to their wondering eyes did appear but Peter Van Aken, all full of good cheer. Behind him a troop of most excellent scouts and a trunkload of objects, all treasures, no doubt. You needed them all. A golf club. Oh, it'll help you, your game, yes. Oh, I know. Where can we dump them? They heard Peter bawl. Don't leave them with us. Take them down to town hall. Again they did settle, down safe in their beds, with visions of bidders all danced in their heads. When again they were awakened by a tap on the door. The trustees were waiting with ideas galore. Let's sell off the Raven, it's just an old book. And Carl Sandburg's letter, it's here, take a look. Then Lane he did thunder, will we never sleep? And Ann calmly answered, we're in this too deep. And so the next morning, all bleary and spent, they gathered the goods up, to town hall they went. The night of the auction, it rained dogs and cats. Oh, you can't even see. She can't see. Oh, yes.
It's a little too big for it. This is a lovely thing.
Oh, I know. night of the auction, it rained dogs and cats, but folks donned their raincoats, umbrellas, and hats. The wine, it flowed freely, and so did the cash. The finance committee took Visa for trash. Janice and John took gavel in hand. With Anne supervising, the auction began. By the end of the evening, the coffers were filled. The town hall was empty. The trustees were thrilled. The friends were delighted. They'd made quite enough. The McGoverns elated. They'd got rid of that stuff. This you must take home. Oh, yeah. Out of all the things, you gotta choose that. I'll give you that. Oh, thank you. I've been married once. I think we'll keep that. Well, I'll keep the purple ribbon. These are very Oh, thank you. That was something, right?
You gonna take that brush home? Sure, sure. Ladies and gentlemen, the Winchester Public Library. I was trying to think of one good line for that toothbrush, but I know who it belongs to. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another great organization that's really not as old as our Winchester Public Library, but is moving in the same direction, increasing the contribution to the arts here in Winchester, and that's the Arthur Griffin Center. And for those that are visiting from out of town, and I know there are some here, I think while you're in Winchester, you should make it a special point to visit the Arthur Griffin Center. And here, on behalf of the Arthur Griffin Center, is Glenn Doyle. Glenn?
Thank you. And distinguished guests, it's with great personal pleasure that I am here tonight to honor this year's recipient of the Citizen of the Year Award, Anne McGovern. As you have heard already, Anne McGovern is a lady who cannot say no. And many of you here have found this to be true. When Winton Club wanted her as president, she could not say no. And when Enker wanted her, she could not say no. And last year, when the library auction wanted her, she could not say no. And in those early days at Wellesley College, when Lane wanted her, she could not say no. I'm sorry. From these humble beginnings, the handsome couple then moved to Winchester in 1954, raised 4 beautiful daughters, and the rest, as they say, is history. However, there is still one missing piece to this wonderful family portrait, and it gives me great pleasure and personal pride to share that with you tonight. As many of you know, I was born several years ago, 38, 47, at Winchester Hospital. In actual fact, I was a happy, healthy, 7-pound bundle of joy. But because of some paperwork mix-up and misplaced identity bracelet, I somehow became an instant orphan and was immediately banished to the basement, the depths of the cold, damp basement nursery. 1 week later, I was shipped off to England and was put up for adoption. I was raised by a very loving, though acutely dysfunctional family, but I never lost hope of someday meeting my own true biological parents. Don't get ahead of me now. After many years of fruitless searching, I finally contacted the Larry Murray Family Tracer Bureau right here in Winchester. They quickly traced my heritage back to a small Watusi tribe in the Belgian Congo, which didn't seem quite right to me. However, they further researched it and came up with the final happy conclusion. And I'm here to say, Mom, I look forward to making up for all those special times we missed together. I look forward to playing the tambourine with you. I look forward to taking piano lessons with you. And yes, I too have always wanted a puppy. Congratulations, Mum. I love you.
Glenn Doyle, ladies and gentlemen, who's the head of the Griffin Art Center. Glenn, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, no discussion of Anne McGovern would be complete without at least a passing reference to her many activities associated with the Winchester school system. And here, on behalf of many of her fellow volunteers, may I have the pleasure to introduce the former superintendent of schools, a resident of number 1 Canterbury Road, the Power Street in Winchester, Mr. Robert Fitzgerald. What I meant to say was former resident.
When I arrived in Winchester in 1972 as principal of the Lynch Junior High School, one of my first duties was to meet with the board of the Lynch Junior High School Parents Association. The board was made up of 37 soft-spoken mothers. Each one of them had been a candidate for the position of principal, and each one of them saw it as only a minor setback that I happened to get the job. Among the 37 were such well-known names as Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Anne McGovern. The Lynch Board was dedicated to the proposition that all men are created with significant flaws. The preamble to the Constitution of the Lynch Parents Association stated that Lynch parents were endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I soon found out that that meant that their children would all take a foreign language at grade 7, would all go on the Booley field trip in grade 8, and would all have Miss Norton for English in grade 9. I also soon found out that Anne McGovern was the one with the real power. She chaired the one-woman committee that determined whether or not there should be any other committees represented on the board. In 1972, there were 21 standing committees on the Lynch Board. There was a committee to watch Joe Forty. There was a committee to watch Bill McDonald. There was a committee to re-elect Lane McGovern. There was a committee to ensure the continued existence of the Wyman School. There was another committee to watch Joe Forty. There was a committee to ensure the continued existence of the Ambrose School, should the committee to ensure the continued existence of the Wyman School somehow fail. Anne sat on all of the committees. In the spring of 1973, I was introduced to the Lynch auction. The auction had a position of honor in the Lynch community, second only to accelerated math and biology. Ann was in charge. She was on a first-name basis with the auctioneer. She managed to get gift certificates from Mahoney's, hockey pucks from the Bruins, ice skates from Phil Stackpole, ties from Chattel's, and brownies from all the room mothers. A couple of years later, Ann worked behind the scenes for Rogers and Hart, better known as Gagel and Jacobs in the Winchester community. She was the one you went to when you needed 42 telephones or 15 stepladders of varying heights or wedding gowns or brass drums or tambourines or Salvation Army uniforms. But I have to say that the greatest find was Louise. I'm not sure of the origin of Louise, but she came into my life in June of 1973. As you can see, Louise is a beautiful woman, but her real beauty is in the fact that she doesn't talk. She doesn't argue. She doesn't demand. She just stands in the corner and looks lovely. On behalf of the Lynch Board, Ann presented Louise to me in 1973 as a reward for having survived my first year as principal. And for the next several years, with the consent of my wife, who was fast becoming a soft-spoken Winchester mother, she lived in our basement. I don't remember the details of her leaving our basement, but from about 1980 to 1995, I think she lived in the McGovern attic. Last June, she came back, just as lovely and just as quiet as ever. And for the past year, she's found happiness in our basement. Alas, the time has come once again for us to part. With any luck, it will be the last time. It's my pleasure to return Louise to one who, by her example, taught Louise to be gracious, cooperative, pleasant, and unassuming. Annie, she's all yours.
Better watch that Ryerson. I think he kind of likes it. Thank you very much, Robert. Ladies and gentlemen, when somebody in a family, and in this case more than one person, donates a lot of time to the town, particularly in the depth that we've heard here this evening, there are other participants that are often unsung. And the other people that aren't elected, sometimes aren't fed, but they're there, and I like to think that those people benefit greatly, if by nothing else, by example. And I think in the case of the McGovern children, that has proven to be true. And at this time, I'd like to introduce the daughters, Laura, Sue, Lisa, and Sarah.
How old are you? We all know Anne McGovern as a busy woman. This was definitely the case while we were growing up. But it wasn't hard to keep track of what she was up to. We'd know as soon as we saw what color she was wearing that day. A yellow smock meant Winchester Hospital Coffee Shop. Green meant Girl Scouts. She wore that one a lot. Blue meant Enka, and on and on. Then there were those days when she didn't do anything, supposedly. You could spot those days in a flash. She'd be wearing sneakers and culottes so she could get around even faster than usual. As busy as she was with all these outside activities, she was just as busy with us, if not more so, taking us to piano lessons, gymnastics, choir practice, tumbling, arts and crafts, horseback riding, ballet, swimming, tennis, guitar, YPF, and boy-girl dancing school in this very hall. In recognition of this tremendous service, it is my great pleasure to present my mother with the first of 4 badges of honor she'll receive from her daughters tonight. These badges, just like the Girl Scout badges she taught us about so many years ago, symbolize outstanding achievement. Mom, for your tireless efforts taking us here and there, I am honored to present you with that time-honored emblem of creative mobility, the Station Wagon Award. May you wear it with pride. And then... We were going to do this with Velcro, but it was too complicated.
As a great citizen of Winchester, Anne McGovern has worked hard to support public education, to save Wyman School, help build the new high school, even tried for a swimming pool, to name a few things. More importantly to us was how hard she worked for each of us individually at each of the many schools we went to. Parkhurst, Vincennes and High Street, Ambrose, Wyman, Lynch, Noonan Annex, and the old and the new high schools. She was there at every science fair, every parents' night, every Christmas pageant, and every musical. In view of all that you have done for schools at large and for us individually, we give you this school spirit badge.
As a great citizen of Winchester, Anne McGovern squeezes extra hours out of every day in service to her various organizations and issues. She chairs the meetings, lugs the props, mans the phones, scours the dumps, solicits the funds, writes the reports, and simply does whatever has to be done, morning, noon, and night. But don't let it be forgotten that for every night she toiled past midnight at the dining room table, dwarfed by the piles of lists and notebooks surrounding her. It was she who was up at dawn's light to get us ready for school. And it was she who was home every day when we walked home for lunch from school. And it was she who was home every afternoon to care for us. We didn't have latchkeys. She was there for us when we needed her, morning, noon, and night. Even now, she works so hard to help her husband, her 4 daughters, her 3 sons-in-law, and her 7 grandchildren, while still continuing to work so hard for the community. Mom, for your uncanny ability to do so much each and every day, I am honored to present you with a much coveted award, the 48 Hours in a Day badge.
Last one. As a great citizen of Winchester, our mother has worked hard all her life. In the process, she has made many people feel special. This is because she always gives extra attention to the people around her. Whether it is to the many folks she delivers Meals on Wheels to, or to the church members she delivers flowers to, or to the people from Boston that she drives to doctor's appointments or tutors, she always manages to let them know how important they are. But what you may not know is how every day she has always made her children and grandchildren feel very special too. I am so nervous. Every milestone we have achieved has been made into a significant event. Birthdays, holidays, graduations, promotions were celebrated with much fanfare and excitement. She made our smaller achievements as important and as meaningful as our greater achievements. We're very lucky, for Anne McGovern has enough heart for us all. Mom, you're a great citizen with a big heart, and you have earned the Great Heart Badge.
I was checking your workmanship.
Oh, that's perfect. Lucky duck. Yeah, thank you. Isn't that nice? Yeah, it really is. I want to look at it. Thank you all. Aren't they special?
Just a couple more minutes of your time. Last August, when my mother and I were setting up chairs for Sue's wedding, we were trying to maximize the number of chairs per inch of floor space, and it was taking a bit of effort. And in between our attempts, Mom looked up and just casually said to me, "You know, I think I've spent my whole life setting up chairs." And though she said this in a characteristically self-deprecating, if not self-critical manner, I found myself trying to visualize literally all of the chairs that Anne McGovern has pushed around and opened up for others. For me, it is an endearing image. Every time she opens a chair, contributes, pitches in, she gives of herself for the benefit of many. And at the risk of overusing this simple metaphor, I must ask also, how often have you ever seen her sit? She has worked in Winchester's church basements, schoolhouses, auditoriums, and gymnasiums, strictly as a volunteer, without perks, pay, title, or glory. Isn't it glorious to see her career recognized tonight? And isn't it glorious just to see her sit? Anne McGovern, you are a great participator, a great giver, and a great citizen. And for the rest of my life, I will never open a chair without thinking of you. As hard as it may be for you, I do hope that in the coming weeks you will try to sit and bask in the warmth of your community's appreciation and admiration. You have always said, a good Girl Scout leaves her campsite better than she found it. Mom, this campsite of Winchester is clearly the better for your visit. Congratulations.
Ian, I think we all feel that what we just heard was the greatest tribute that anybody could have presented tonight, and we congratulate you for your fine kids. At this time, let me introduce a guy who's opened a few chairs in his lifetime, too, and pushed them around, Lane McGovern.
I have to say, I think this is the nicest thing that's happened in the town of Winchester since the elimination of the grade crossing in the center back in the late 1950s. This kind of award is earned the old-fashioned hard way, incrementally, over the years, over the decades. And the work doesn't stop with the award. The next morning, after the Chamber's announcement of the award a few weeks ago, Ann was up at 5:30 a.m. driving through a snowstorm to pick up a woman in North Reading who had to be at Mass General at 7 a.m. and then picked her up again at 10:30 a.m. to take her home. Ann feels, and I suspect that she'll say, that she's very much a representative honoree, that she unofficially represents a group in town, a group of perhaps several dozen people who also have done for years the kinds of volunteer activities that she's done. A group, many of whom are in this room here tonight. And that as a practical matter, this award indirectly honors not just her individually, but honors through her this group as a whole, as co-citizens of the year. It's a group that has strengthened the the fabric of our town in many diverse and helpful ways, invariably without attendant fanfare and often without recognition of any kind. However, let's face it, whether a representative or not, Ann, it seems to me, has undergone a metamorphosis of sorts, a transformation since that fateful day when this award was first announced in April. Instead of my having a wife who is an agreeable, regular, down-the-middle Josephine Q citizen, slogging around town from the Stop and Shop to the dump to the mall, I began early on to have the feeling that I was looking across the breakfast table at a semi-stranger, at a bona fide New Age celebrity, radiating page-one headlines, close-up photos, and lengthy newspaper interviews disgorging details about her and our hitherto private personal life. Moreover, the comments coming from across the table, she does sit down now and then, began to seem to me to be a slight bit more authoritarian and didactic, and the tone a bit less conciliatory, and carry just a faint trace of condescension. My sense of unease then heightened when I was told by the powers that be that as a loyal spouse, I was expected to step forward and say something at Ann's May 15 ordination. Now, immediately, I thought of numerous other men, also husbands of highly celebrated women, who had had to face up to similar situations. What had they done? How had they handled this kind of off-the-wall impact upon the marital relationship? For example, what approach did Margaret Thatcher's husband customarily take? What did the husbands of Shirley Temple Black and Agatha Christie do in this kind of environment? Or even the husbands of Grandma Moses and Ma Barker? I wished I knew. Incidentally, I don't want to focus on Al and Judy Muger at this point because they're next-door neighbors, and I I might get into a peck of trouble. After a while, it seemed to me that there were only two ways to go. One way, the orthodox way, would be to unroll a long list, and it would be long, of Anne's volunteer services over 40 years, sprinkling the talk with suitable anecdotal material. But instantly, it was apparent that this option was simply not available, in fact, prohibited. My talk, I was told, had to be short, very short, period, a strict requirement. That ruled out way one. That left the second way to go, the iconoclastic way, which is to share with you some of Anne's deficiencies. Or putting it more delicately, her idiosyncrasies. Not, of course, with any purpose of deflating her or of bringing back the wife I used to know. That's not it. But with the sole purpose of making you all feel more kindly toward Anne, because her idiosyncrasies would demonstrate to you that, after all, she is fully human, just like the ordinary citizens of Winchester are. Mother Teresa, Florence Nightingale, Clara Barton, Jane Addams, all the great volunteer service people in history had partially clay feet at times. Anne does too. Fortunately, Anne has only one clay toe worth highlighting. However, in the interest of fairness and balance, I thought you should know about this clay toe before all this hoopla ends. What is it? Listen up. Anne never shuts any drawers. She... Yeah. You may laugh, but it's serious. I come in at night and can pretty well recreate her day by inventorying which drawers in which rooms are still sticking out. Something in this woman's internal makeup blocks or cuts off the nerve and muscular action that culminates in the shutting of a drawer after an article has been obtained from it. Sure, it's a safety hazard. And sure, it does destroy the order of an otherwise okay room. No matter. Competent volunteers can do some things, but not others. In the case of NCAR and its clothes shop, they'd better be darn well advised to team Anne with a good drawer shutter down there to avoid disarray, confusion, and physical injury. But enough of all that. At this time, I will ask that you reach for a glass and join me in what eventually will amount to a toast after a 5-step prelude. Number one, Anne. In the 50s, you and Susie McDavid DeGeorge and others taught scads of little brownies and Girl Scouts, including your children, the fine art of how to build a fire in the rain, the Minnesota way. May those brownies and scouts as adults now continue your teaching tradition with their children and their neighbors' children to the greater glory of your home state of Minnesota. 2, and Anne, in the 60s, a gallant little band of young mothers, you, Sutherland, McCulley, Pelletier, Bird, Santos, and others, fought hard to save the independence and, yes, the very existence of your beloved Wyman School. And in the end, you lost. May your shining example so inspire the young mothers of today as to arouse similar or even bigger educational crusades, but not just now. Number 3, Annie. In the 70s, you had your Winton Club show in '76 to be precise. And in the years before and since, you've had a turn at practically every cabaret job there is, from chairman to third assistant broom sweeper. May you continue to retain and nourish your Winton Association. And may the Wintonites, for their part, learn to appreciate and respect one of your long-standing cabaret precepts. Never, ever underestimate the showbiz value of a bona fide performing town manager, especially when the guy can really sing and dance, which I would add is at least partially true at the present time. Number 4, Annie Will. In the 90s, you and a large group of capable cohorts, way too numerous to list by name, combined to run a library auction that startled the town and pushed the library's private fund drive well on its way to victory. May you, at some far, far distant time, in some town hall or Sotheby's in the sky, have the matchless opportunity to team up with Jackie Kennedy Onassis in staging what would be, what without question would have to be, the mother of all Winchester library authors. And finally, number 5, Mrs. McGovern. As we proceed toward and into the 21st century, may your husband, with a resigned but contented smile on his face, continue to shut the hundreds of drawers left in your wake like the tail of Halley's Comet, realizing, as he should and does, that there are more important things in life than a house with symmetrical drawers. And may he also continue to realize, as he should and also does, that the Chamber's action has merely confirmed what he himself has known all along, that an exceptional award, Citizen of the Year, has been given to an exceptional person. So now, if you drink your toast to our Citizen of the Year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, while our music director is taking his seat, I'm sure you recognize Courtney Crandall, who brought his own piano with him tonight. Is this guy from Woburn? What's going on here? But didn't they pay the rent? You ready, Court? Ladies and gentlemen, the tambourines. Thanks, guys. That was really outstanding. Let's hear it one more time. That's a hidden town asset. We ought to get them in some of the other functions in town. Maybe town meeting. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time when we introduce the president of the Winchester Chamber of Commerce. And tonight it's my great pleasure to introduce the president, Brian LaPointe. Brian?
I'd like to thank you all for coming here tonight. This has been a wonderful evening for all of us and for our community, although I suspect that it may be something of an overwhelming occasion for our guest of honor. Before presenting her with this year's Citizen of the Year award, I would like to take just a moment while I have this captive audience to highlight some of the major initiatives of the Chamber of Commerce. As most of you must know by now, we have been deeply involved in the parking issue. We have met with the Board of Selectmen, as well as other key groups, and we are attempting to identify funding sources for a parking garage. As you know, State Senator Shannon has secured a commitment for these funds as part of the state transportation bond. Final approval must come from the legislature, but from all indications, we are on the right track, and we have every confidence that the parking facility will become a reality. Recently, we appeared before both the Board of Selectmen and Town Meeting in support of the liquor license referendum. We are pleased that the residents of the town will now have the opportunity to express for themselves whether or not 2 additional licenses should be available for restaurants with 100 or more seats. On another positive note, we have been informed that the popular restaurant Ciro's, which was given rave reviews in the Cheap Eats section of the Boston Globe recently, will be moving in where the Saxo Bistro restaurant once was. This, we feel, will greatly enhance the vitality of the downtown district. We also endorsed the publication of a sign book as developed by the Design Review Committee with David Sterling and Sandy Rogers. We believe it will have a positive effect on the appearance of the businesses in the area, and we hope the Board of Selectmen will approve its publication. We are also working closely with the Rotary Club to coordinate our efforts on projects of value to the town, such as the publication of an attractive brochure on Winchester for new businesses and new residents alike. This new publication will include all of the many amenities which we now enjoy in this community. Working with the Winchester Action Network, we are seeking increased coordination and cooperation between the many groups in the community to achieve maximum impact and to avoid duplication of effort through the publication of a master calendar. As you can see, the Chamber is committed to Winchester and to the quality of life that is so important to all of us. This brings us to the moment we have been waiting for this evening, the presentation of the Citizen of the Year Award to Ann McGovern. Choosing one person for this honor each year is something of an impossible task. There are valid reasons for having 5, 10, or even more recipients, because we have so many active, concerned, committed, and worthy residents. In our selection of the 1996 Citizen of the Year, everyone agrees that no one deserves this honor more than Ann McGovern, except perhaps Ann, who works so quietly and effectively without expecting accolades from anyone. Perhaps this is what makes her so deserving of this honor. Anne, on behalf of the Winchester Chamber of Commerce and all the residents of our community, it is my pleasure and honor to present you with the 1996 Citizen of the Year Award. And after you open this, I have a little story that goes along with this. Would you come up here, please?
Oh, it's our house. Oh, that's a beautiful picture. What is that? I don't have my glasses on.
Well, I'm going to tell
I
you
think
that
it's
that's
Lane.
part of the story.
Isn't that Lane? Is this Arthur's?
Yes.
Oh,
This-
Arthur, that is gorgeous. Look at this. This is our house.
This, this photograph has been generously donated by Arthur Griffin.
Oh, Arthur, it's
Uh,
beautiful.
When Arthur went over to the McGovern home to snap this photograph for the award, he was out in the street and he was getting ready to take the picture, and all of a sudden this white car pulled up in front of the house. And Arthur, not being bashful, went over to ask the person to move, and it was Lane. Well, after Lane moved the car, as he tried to dash into the house without being seen, Arthur waited until just the right moment, and Lane, you didn't make it. 'Cause there you are. Congratulations, Ann.
Brian, thank you.
Now, Ann, the picture and the podium are yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, the lady of the hour, good people, Anne McGovern.
Okay. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Really, thank you, all of you. I just don't know how to start except to just say thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. As I said to a couple of people, I didn't sleep very much last night. I practiced what I was going to say today. I practiced it so much that nothing's left inside except an awful lot of warm feelings. I can't believe that you're all here and all those wonderful things and all those silly things. I just feel very, very lucky and very, very thankful. And it's been, I don't know when I've been so scared about an event in my whole life. And it's just like you said from the start, it really has been absolutely great. And it's great because it reflects all of you and our town. And the fun, which I don't know if anyone's ever used that word out loud, but that's really part of what our whole life together is all about. And it's why I know I have done what I have done, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's not all fun and games. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of worries from time to time. But I've really been very, very lucky to be able to do it. And as everybody knows, I felt I'm sharing this. I'm your representative because there are so many there. But I want you all to know that I never would have done it if it wasn't for my husband. Women lived before there was women lived. I just was so lucky to have a husband who encouraged me. My family had volunteered in Minnesota and took part in things. And I learned from them, if you're part of it, then life has meaning. If you just sit back and watch, you really don't enjoy it as much. And then I went to Wellesley College, and their motto is not to be helped, but to help others. And they let you know that in spades. And there wasn't any choice. There wasn't a Wellesley student there who didn't know they were going to go out in the world and help other people. They were going to do their thing, but they were going to help other people. I met a very nice man and was married, and he encouraged me. If had I said, I got to get a career, I really got to, learn moon science, he would have figured out how we could do it. I don't know how to do moon science, and I don't ever want to, but We were very fortunate to live in the olden days with lots of you where one salary could take care of us. So I really had the best life anybody could have, and I just wish everybody had the freedom of choice that I did, because I was able to do things as they came along. When the kids needed stuff, I could stop and concentrate on them, and I really do thank all four. I wasn't a swell mother every time, but they did get clean clothes and they did get meals. The best thing from their point of view was when Lane ran for school committee and we discovered TV dinners. That was in the 70s, and that was just, oh wow, that was just great. But it goes on from there. That it's the fun and the togetherness, and I certainly thank my family. I married into a very nice McGovern family that gave me backing. Lane always said he rescued me from that little farm 7 miles south of Duluth. It was actually the center of the city of Minneapolis, which is a great place to grow up. But I was very glad to be rescued by a McGovern and join the McGovern family. I've been very proud of it. And I'm very proud. It took a long time. They'd say, where's your home? And I'd say, oh, Minnesota. I don't say that anymore, and I'm really glad to be part of you here. And I thank all of you for helping me have such a good time. You learn, you have fun, and you do help others, and you learn. Everything you do, you learn something new. So, you learn stuff you don't expect to learn. On scouting, you expect to learn, about kids, girls in my case, outdoors, all that stuff. I never expected to learn how to breathe through one nostril. That came from a fellow leader in the middle of the night in a tent, right? It's all part of yoga, apparently. I also learned while helping the Rogers and Hart department at the Lynch School. You learn a lot of stuff there. We were doing Guys and Dolls, and Wally Gagel had approximately 350 kids coming on stage from all directions, all at the same time. I was in charge of figuring out how to get, picture this, an 8th grade girl changed into a wedding gown in front of 350 students in the middle of the stage. And nothing to it. I mean, we could figure that out. And I turned to Wally and said, "Where are these kids all coming from?" And he just looked at me and said, "From God." That's, it makes you think. There is a lot more to what we do than what we expect. You also learn about yourself. You learn when you're driving home at 3 o'clock in the morning in a roaring blizzard, having finished a meeting with the cabaret people in which you didn't succeed in casting the show, and you wonder if you'll ever make it, you learn that you're pretty silly. But you go on and you go back and you do it again because it is a good cause. We have so many good causes, and we have so many people here who help in so many directions. I think I probably should stop blathering and just say thank you so much for such a very, very special time in every way. And I just don't know who to thank most of all. I know you've all been the chamber, of course, for doing it and picking out me, even though I probably could have chosen a lot of other guys too better. But I really am very honored and I'm very humbled. And I thank every single one of you for all that you've put into it and that you're here. It's wonderful. Thanks.
Well, Ann, I think I speak for everybody here to say thank you for moving here from Minnesota, and thanking for giving your time to the town of Winchester. We certainly have benefited greatly from that, and we look forward to benefiting in the future as well. And shut the drawers. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't forget to sign the book up, and I mean the picture up if you haven't there. And the McGoverns have said that they would like to say hello to those they haven't met, so they'll be staying up here in the front of the hall at the end. And I thank you very much, and thank the Chamber of Commerce for asking me to MC this. It was a great honor to honor Ann, and I wish you all good evening. Thank you.
Walked off without